Gertjan, one win away from a cup final. How are the boys feeling? They're looking forward to the semi-final on Wednesday night.
I hope so.
They're feeling, how have they been in training this week? Is the mood in the camp? Are the boys confident heading into the game?
Oh, I think we did it well in the first match against Melbourne City. And I think if you see the match, they had 11 better players maybe, but we were the better team. We scored with the set pieces, but also but some chances, good chances we got us, and we didn't give a lot away. So and even we played very far away from the 16, but a lot of space behind in our back and fast strikers and opponents. So it gives also a good feeling when you have a good result then. And the second game was less against Melbourne City, so you see the quantity is more and better than by Manchester City or Melbourne City. But also in that game we never have believed that we were chanceless. So after the first half 3-1, then 3-2, 4-2, 4-3. In the end it came to 5-3, but still there were moments that we get good pressing and good attacking. So I am satisfied about the little training camp. But now it's going about a real game, the semi-final, and that's quite different. And the way we trained last week, also the quality was even good. So I'm satisfied about the work they did, because it was heavy in those 5 days in Melbourne and come back. Of course, you need also some recovery training, but the quality training we did well on Friday and Saturday.
You're playing Central Coast Mariners in the semi-final, a side that has struggled a little bit in the A-League the past 2 seasons, I think, finishing bottom. They look like to be an improved side throughout the Cup campaign so far. What have been your thoughts? Maybe you've watched some video of them playing. What do you see as their strengths as a team?
Yeah, in 2016 Adelaide was winner of the A-League, and now they predict we are 7th because we have less quality. You never know. It's pre-season. You can't compare that. Also the games they played in the FA Cup. If you give them space and believe in a good result, they will also get a good result. So we have to try to do our best play in the pre-season, and then I'm convinced that we can beat them. But they're not for nothing in the semi-finals. So they will have qualities. And I said so. I saw some games where they get a lot of space, and they did that well. I also seen that it was a big difference between the 2 games I saw in the numbers in the players that played. So we're not quite sure who are starting, but I think we also a little bit know how they are organized and how we can get a good result against them.
Is it more a case of the things that you're trying to put in place is more important at this stage of the season than worrying too much about how to negate whatever opposition you're playing?
Yeah, sometimes when you are longer in a competition, you know a little bit more about the trainer and the way he thinks. For me, that's difficult because I'm also new. The advantage is that they don't know me very well till now. So, but also in Europe, you have a vision about how do you want to play football. That's even every time has to improve, and that's what we do every day on the field. I hope that it's enough now, enough knowledge in the team now, to look after the opponent and take care of what they have to do in our own philosophy. If you stay close to that, you have the best chance to win. And do you have to run a lot after the opponent? It's a bad sign.
So, in terms of where you're set up, do you know your best 11 at the moment, or you're still experimenting in that?
You can't never talk about the best 11. I think we have 13, 14 competitive players, and even sometimes it's hard to make a decision. The last game we played for the FA Cup, I said against George Blackwood, you're not in the 16, and maybe now he's a starter because the opponent plays a special way, and where I can probably use him very well. So every player is different, and you can use the specific qualities of the players. And I am lucky that in the attackers, in the strikers, I have a lot of different kind of players. For them, it's not easy always, because you not always say, okay, you play. Sometimes you're not in the 16. I explained that with George, but that's how it's going in modern football. You use the players on their qualities, and for George, for instance, is quite different striker than Christian or Touré.
You've been quoted as saying, I think you've still got 2 positions that you could fill. Are you?
No, we have to.
Well, that you have to fill.
Yeah, we need 2 contracted players because we have 2 less. Yeah, it's the FFA who says you have so many contracted players, and we have still 2 to go.
How close are you to finding those 2 extra players?
I hope very close, but you have to ask that and Bruce and Pete.
Do you know what positions are you looking for in terms of playing positions for those 2 players?
Yeah, I already said if you see now the players we can get in the season when we have to play football when there is a FIFA break, then the problems are in the midfield. And in defense also we have maybe a problem when because I don't have much left-footed defenders. Quito, Jacob, and then it's very young players. I'm very satisfied about them, but they can do it maybe for 1 or for 2 games, but not for 27. So if you give a main injury, then we have to also to search for a defender, because I said we don't have 11 starters, 30-14. Mickey is also one of them who is has to compete with Jordan and with Trainee. With those 3 for 2 positions. On the left side, I don't have the luxury of that, because maybe Michael Maria can play there, but then you have to shuffle, and that's not what I like.
Have you had assurances from the club that before the season starts you'll be getting these 2 players?
You have to. I explained already. We have to sign 2 contracted players, because the FFA asked them about that. We have certain numbers under contract, and we have 2 less, so we have to. I don't have the insurance from the club. They have to. Well, maybe they decided to give youth players a contract. I don't know.
Yeah. There's still 1 remaining visa spot available for an international player. Do you see one of these 2 players being from an overseas player?
No, because it explains already very often. It will be a Chinese. So there is no spot for an overseas player, because we get a Chinese player. So that will be one of the contracted players, and then still we have 1 to go.
We're only 11 days out from the first game of the season. If these two new players come in, how do you feel you're prepared tactically or physically for that first game against Sydney in 11 days? Do you feel you're in a good place, ready to go?
Now, you don't play a lot of games in such a long pre-season, so you never know exactly where the team is on, because on Saturday we played against Western. It was not a good game, And then a few days later we played against Melbourne City, and that was a good game. And to get some stability, you have to play more games, but that's almost impossible in this period because the NPL is on holiday. So where do we find our opponents? Then you have to make more steps outside the door to go to Melbourne or to go to Brisbane and to play more games against the A-League opponents. But that costs a lot of money, so you better spend that for a good player. So it's always difficult, and the pre-season, the development from the team and the individual players don't stop in the end of the pre-season. It's going on in the competition, and then you get rhythm, then you get a stability, and then you have to see if they grown up and they understand what the trainer wants to see.
You've not experienced this before, I can tell from the way you're talking about the way the pre-season works and that. Is it a more difficult assignment than you thought it would be, or is it pretty much what you expected?
Yeah, there are some negative things about it, but also the most positive thing is that you can take your time also with injured players. Normally in Europe you have 5-6 weeks preparation, and then you have to do a lot, and sometimes you do too much in the pre-season, and you get a lot of injuries. Here you have all the time because you're not in a hurry because you know it's starting 11 October. And that's nice, but what's not nice is that you don't have opponents. You want to play games, training. It's not boring, but it's going about the game. And you never train as hard if you play the game. If you play 2 times 45 minutes, and you see the heart rates on the training, it's not close. So you need those games, to get fit for 27 competition games.
So that's the single biggest factor, I guess, for you going in and a little bit uncertain about what you're going to face?
No, there's a big thing, but the bigger thing is that that the owners said yes against the plans from Fox to play football during the FIFA break. It's insane. It's always your best players you lose, and when you want to have the quality of the A-League, it has to be changed. You can't do and play on when your best players are away. That's not what the spectators play and the fans are paying their tickets and the money.
How many players are you expecting to potentially be without during those international breaks when you have to play?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, how many players do you expect won't be here in Adelaide during that international break?
You never know, but you have the national team. I think that we don't have a lot of players for the national team, but in the teams below that, the Olympic team and the under 20, a lot of players, and we have chosen for a lot of young players. So in the pre-season for 4 weeks, Lachlan Broek was not there, Luigi De Riccio was not there. Jay King was not there. So in 4 weeks' time, they didn't get competitive with the players are here. So, and you see the difference because Luigi played against Melbourne City and he did it well, but it's almost starting for the competition. So he's only 17, and in the pre-season I was here for 3-4 weeks, and then he went away for 4 weeks. That's silly. So it's a little bit sad for him also, but also for the club.
Does that make the need to win in the FFA Cup? Does that make it even more critical? The fact that you might lose these players, you want to get as many competitive games as you can. You want to start the season well because of that window where you might lose players. Does it make it more critical to win in the FFA Cup and get through and play those matches and get players up to speed?
It's a prize. So if you're a sportsman, you want to win prizes, and the cup is one of the prizes. And if you're so close to the final, you have to do all what's in you to win that semi-final. And that starts with the first game. But if you see who's still in it, and who lost already in the first game. Sydney lost, but Victory lost. So big teams in the A-League lost their first FA Cup team. And when you even have a little bit opportunity to play games in the pre-season, then you may hope that you can come far in the cup, because you have serious games with good opponents. And then after 10 minutes you have 10 men. Yeah.
Gertjan, you won the cup with AZ in Holland. Obviously, a special experience in your career. Do you find that a good cup run, winning a cup, that form, that confidence can carry into your league form in other competitions?
Yeah, but in Holland it's different. You play the cup during the season, and the final is in the end of the season, and then everybody's gone. And when you come back in the pre-season and you start the training, in Europe, your team is changed for 4, 5, 6 positions. So you can't compare that. But it's giving you a good feeling also the players who are staying, and they get confidence about that. And for the players also, a lot of players never win a prize. And in Holland, it's normal. Champion is going about Ajax and PSV, and then you can win the cup. So sometimes a small club can win the cup. Be champion is a different story in Holland. Here in Australia, everyone can win the cup, but also everyone can be champion, and that's nice.
Lastly, any injuries? Any players for Wednesday night that are injured and aren't fit to play?
We have 2 players for a longer injury. That's Cusini and Maria. So they are not selected. I can't select them because they're not fit enough. They joined the group again this week, almost the whole week. So that's going the right direction. New are Nicola and Pacific. Nicola got in the end of the game against Melbourne City. He was doing well, but 5 minutes for the end, he grabbed to his hamstring, and it's always his upper leg gives a little bit problems by Nicola. He's a very fast player, and the muscles doesn't sometimes react well, and so we test him this afternoon. So we're not sure if he can go, and Pacific have a little bit problem with his ankle. So also he is not sure if he can join the squad, and even not both will be in the squad. So if the one is going, the other one has to stay at home, and if they both to stay at home, then we have to change the 16.